Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Asgardians and mutants alike, and welcome to another Liam Aiden gameplay video. Back with more Marvel Strike Force today, where we're going to be looking at one of the best early teams to farm, the Defenders. Now, in this video, I'm going to go over who the Defenders are, the best composition for that team, how, when, and where you want to use that team, how you're going to farm each of the Defenders, how far you want to gear and level up each of the members of the team, as well as a couple of tricks for just how to get the very best out of your Defenders squad. They really are a great team to go for. So whether you're just new to Marvel Strike Force, you're starting out at the beginning of the game, or if you've been playing for a while and for whatever reason you just haven't maxed out your Defenders squad, stay tuned till the end because I've got a couple of tips and tricks that should help even seasoned players. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I appreciate all of your comments, criticisms, and suggestions down below. Alright, let's go. So this is the ideal Defenders lineup, or Punfenders as it's sometimes known, because it's the Defenders plus the Punisher, or Punisher plus the Defenders, I guess. Now the reason for that is that if we actually go and look at the full roster, we'll see that there are only 4 heroes with the actual Defenders tag. They are Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. So in order to build a full squad, which in the game needs 5 characters, we need to bring someone else in to fill that 5th spot. Now I've seen people online who advocate using Ms. Marvel. Even some people are saying Spider-Man because he's readily available, or really just any other character with the city hero tag to fill that 5th spot. The Punisher is the most popular, and as we're going to see as we go through this video later on, there are huge advantages to using the Punisher to round out your Defenders lineup. So that's who I would recommend. The lineup I'd recommend is Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and the Punisher. Alright, so let's go through one by one and take a look at the squad, starting with Luke Cage. Now, Luke Cage is one of the units that you're given free at the beginning of the game. He's a protector, so that's basically a tank. I came to Marvel Strike Force through Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Any of you who came through Galaxy of Heroes as well, when you see protector, just think tank. And he's got a couple of really tanky abilities that really help the squad out. In addition to his standard attack, he's also got Unbreakable, which gives a defense boost to the entire squad, as well as Bring It, which is his taunt, which when powered up lasts for 2 turns. Initially it's only 1, but these are really important protector attributes that you're going to use right from the get-go to have Luke Cage absorbing the damage for the rest of your squad, so you really want to bulk up his armor and protection. So Luke Cage is available in 2 locations to farm. First of all, in the Blitz store, 500 Blitz currency for 5 shards, and you're getting that by competing in the daily Blitz challenges. It's relatively easy to come by, so you should be able to get at least 5, if not 10 or more shards of Luke Cage per day from the Blitz store. He can also be farmed through heroic battles on Heroes Node 3, so it might take you a little while to get there. You're not going to be able to farm that node straight away. It's 12 energy, so relatively cheap. But out of those 2 areas to get him, definitely the Blitz store is going to be your best bet. Because as things go on, you'll see we're going to be farming some of the other Defenders using that energy that you could otherwise use for Luke Cage. So farm him in the Blitz store, get into the habit of doing that every day. If you have energy left over, by all means go back and farm a few more shards for Luke Cage, but the Blitz store is going to be your main focus. Now at the end of the video I'm going to have a graphic with all the characters, where to farm them, and how far to gear them and star them up as well, so don't worry about that now. Next is Jessica Jones. Now Jessica Jones is a controller. She's the controller for the Defenders. Now controller characters are kind of like leaders. They're not exactly, there isn't really a leader equivalent to Galaxy of Heroes in Marvel Strike Force, but controllers are able to manipulate and power up other allied members, and that's where a lot of Jessica Jones's power lies. From her standard attack, Jawbreaker, to her epically powerful and just really cool looking special Rejection, Jessica Jones is a great attacker, but it's in her controller ability, Shake It Off, that she really shines. This ability removes all negative status effects from allies and powers up all defenders' allies' special abilities. This really is a great ability for Jessica Jones, and it makes her an invaluable member of the Defenders squad. Now, Jessica Jones does sometimes appear as a roving character in some of the stores, but the only place that she can be reliably farmed is in Villains Node 2-9. Now, it's a relatively easy node to get to just at the end of the second tier villains battles, and again, it's only 12 energy per go, so Jessica Jones is going to be one of those key people you're spending your energy on right from the beginning. You want to max that node out every day to get as many stars as quickly as possible. Iron Fist is number 3 on our list. Now, Iron Fist is a brawler that's basically an attacker character, so he's concentrating on doing as much damage as possible to single identified enemy characters. Now, this brings us to one of the biggest gameplay differences between Galaxy of Heroes and Strike Force. That's character proximity and chain attacks. Now, in Marvel Strike Force, certain attacks can chain to characters around the initial target. So they go in, they attack the targeted character, the targeted enemy, and then there's a chance, or sometimes a certainty, that your character will also attack characters surrounding that enemy. That's called a chain attack. It usually involves less damage being applied to the secondary and tertiary targets and so on, and it can be dodged or countered. But that's why character placement and proximity is important, but we're going to talk more about that later. For now, it's important to know that Iron Fist's basic attack martial arts can chain up to 2 targets, so you're kind of getting 3 for 1, and that can make it a very powerful attack. But the big money, of course, comes from Iron Fist's secondary attack, the Iron Fist, which does an incredible amount of damage to the enemy and removes positive status effects from them. If they survive, that is. It also just has this really cool animation. Iron Fist also has the ability to heal his teammates, initially only defender allies, but as you upgrade it, it gets more powerful and includes non-defender allies as well. Add to this Iron Fist's auto-heal at the beginning of his turn, and the fact that he heals the entire team for a small amount of health on spawn, a skill that's really useful when you're fighting in raids where you use the same team again and again without any refresh, for example. And you realize that Iron Fist is an essential component to the Defenders team, and just a great character in Marvel Strike Force in his own right. Now again, Iron Fist is one of those characters that you're going to want to farm shards to rather than buy, so you are going to be spending your energy on him. In this case, he's available in Nexus battles 1-9, so the very end of the first tier of Nexus. Now this is a little harder to get to than those early heroes and villains battles, so normally Iron Fist is one of the last Defenders characters that people get around to farming, but stick with it, he's really worth it. Again, only a 12 energy spend, so you want to be farming that node every single day. Next is Daredevil, another brawler and martial artist. He's going to be one of your main attackers for the squad and sharing a lot of characteristics with Iron Fist, including this chain attack skill. While Daredevil's basic attack, Strike Without Fear, has a chance of including a second enemy, it's his special attack Brawl that has the most chain ability and when properly powered up can just cut through squads. But it's maybe his secondary attack, Baton Throw, that has the most utility in a defender's lineup. After it's upgraded to level 3, a successful Baton Throw grants counter to all defender allies twice, meaning your defender's squad is just going to rain down attacks upon an enemy out of turn whenever they get hit. I've won so many battles with this, it isn't even fair, and it's a big part, in my mind, of what makes the defender's squad the Defender, and such an awesome early team to have in your lineup. Now, Daredevil is farmable in the Arena store. As you can see, I'm still farming him, just purchased some shards there myself. Now, unlike the Aim Researcher and Hand Archer next to him, Daredevil's a little more expensive. He's 500 Arena currency for 5 shards, so that's the same price as Luke Cage in the Blitz store. Arena currency you're getting from taking part in the daily arena challenges. You should be doing that anyway, but as long as you do your minimum of 2, it should be easy for you to get that necessary 500 currency to be getting 5 shards of Daredevil a day at least. Make sure you do. He's well worth it. This is where we bring in our 5th hero to fill that final spot left open on the Defenders squad. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I strongly recommend that you use the Punisher for reasons that I think will become apparent in just a few moments' time. So the Punisher is a blaster, meaning that he specializes in raining damage down on the enemy from afar. Now, if there's one thing that the Defenders team lacks, it's decent AoEs. We've seen that in Iron Fist and Daredevil, you've got those chain attacks capable of hitting multiple targets if they chain, but the Punisher is the only one in this lineup who brings in AoEs. This is where he really shines. Now, as we've seen with the chain attacks, AoEs work a little differently in Marvel Strike Force. That is, a lot of the time they're dealing damage to proximity characters that are around your targeted enemy. So aside from the Punisher's basic attack, the M4 Carbine, his grenade launcher attack does exactly that. It rains damage down primarily on the main target, and then with decreasing percentages to the targets surrounding the selected enemy. But it's in the Punisher's passive ability, Lock and Load, that we really see why he's such a great choice as the 5th member of the Defenders squad. As once this ability is powered up to level 4, the Punisher retaliates whenever Daredevil takes damage. Again, you're just stacking up these free out-of-turn attacks that the Defenders as a team can rain down upon your enemy squad. Now, Punisher can be farmed on Heroes node 1-6. It's the easiest farming node out of the ones we've looked at today to get to. It's going to be probably in the first 6 battles you fight. Again, it's only 12 energy, so Punisher's probably going to be the first person in this lineup that you're regularly able to farm. He's one of the ones you want to be spending that energy on every single day to try and max out those shard drops. So that's the Defenders lineup, who they are, and where to farm them. But why is this collection of city heroes such a great team to go after at the beginning of the game? As I've mentioned probably a dozen times in this video already, I came to Marvel Strike Force through Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and I know that a lot of people did too. The Defenders squad is often compared to the Phoenix squad in Galaxy of Heroes. Both are teams that people are recommended to farm early on because they have great utility in the early parts of the game. Now, the one big difference I think between Defenders and Phoenix is that Defenders don't prepare you for any of the legendary events in Marvel Strike Force. They also don't include any legendary characters in their makeup, and in order to really be a top-tier team in Marvel Strike Force, you do need that legendary component. So that means that while they are kind of like the Phoenix, they're a great team to farm first, they do have their limitations, and one of those big limitations is there's no reason to power them all the way up. This is a great beginning team. It's not necessarily a team that you're still going to be using at the end of the game. With that in mind, this is my recommendation for how far to gear and power up your Defenders squad. We're going to go over in a minute exactly where you're going to use them, but for the early stages of the game, 5-star, gear ability 10, and abilities level 5 is as far as you're going to need to go. Now, does that mean that you definitely shouldn't go beyond that? No, of course not. If you really enjoy playing with this team, there's no reason why you can't take it further. But bear in mind that, a lot like the Phoenix, you're going to start to get diminishing returns the higher you go with these guys. So really, 5-star, gear level 10, abilities level 5 is, I think, about where you're going to need to be. If you do that, you're going to have a squad power of somewhere in the region of about 120. Now, that's assuming that you keep training them up as you increase in your levels. You do want to keep your characters trained up as you go, but you're going to have a power of about 120. That's the cumulative power of this squad, and that's going to be more than enough for you to deal with the early levels of play and for you to do well in raids too. So the next question then is, where are you going to use Defenders? And the answer, at least in the initial stages of the game, is pretty much everywhere. The Defenders, as we've already seen, have great synergy. It's why they're such a great introductory team. They really introduce you to how players with similar tags can work well together to beat much more powerful enemies. The Defenders actually have a bunch of passive abilities that I didn't even really go into, so as you start farming them, do check those out and make sure that you power them up, because that's where a lot of this team's power lies. I'll go over that a little bit before we get to the end of the video, but for now, let's have a look at some of the specific uses you can put this squad to. Obviously, you're going to want to use them in your heroes battles, and the squad that I've just described should be more than enough to get you up to level 6. Level 7 is actually locked until you reach player level 70. You can also use them in Nexus battles. They're a little bit outclassed in some of the later Nexus battles, but they should get you through, especially those early stages. Arena is a very important part of the game. It's where you're going to be taking your most powerful squad up against the most powerful squad of other players on your same shard. So players who started around the same time and theoretically should be about the same power level as you. This is where you're going to be earning that currency you need to spend to get Daredevil and various other players as you move through the game too. And you need to fight 2 of these battles every day just to reach your daily targets. It's a really rewarding part of the game too. You can have a lot of fun here, although as you're running Defenders, you're probably going to find yourself initially at least going up against a lot of other Defenders squads. Now you're also going to want to run your Defenders team in Blitz, another daily showdown where you're basically climbing a ladder of progressively more powerful enemy teams with the idea of getting more and more powerful rewards as you go. It offers a lot of variety in the game. You'll be going up against all sorts of mixtures of teams, and this is where you're earning that currency you need to spend on Luke Cage. Again, you need to fight 2 of these battles every day to meet your daily targets, your daily quota, but I actually recommend going as far as you can if you've got the time, as the rewards can be really great as you move up the various tiers. The final place the Defenders are really going to shine for you are in raids, especially the early raids, kind of Ultimus 1 through 5, maybe 6. These are great ways to earn massive rewards for you and your alliance. All of those passive abilities, that synergy, those buffs that we mentioned earlier when we were looking at the characters, they all come into play here, meaning the Defenders can really punch above their weight and beat a lot of teams that other early squads just can't. So Defenders, I would say definitely the first squad you want to go after. But what about areas of the game where they won't be that useful? Well, there are a couple, even in the early stages of Marvel Strike Force. One, of course, is villains. You can only use villains for the Villains United battle, so you're going to need a good squad of villains in order to take those on. I'll be doing another video about that later, so that's another good reason to subscribe to the channel so you can get alerts when that drops. Nexus as well. Although Defenders can do it, they can make Nexus work, their lack of AoEs, in my opinion, really harms their ability in this regard. And you might be better off using another team, especially for some of those higher level Nexus battles. Cosmic Conflicts is another area where you're completely lacking. None of the Defenders have the Cosmics tag, so you're going to need another team to make that work. And Mystic Forces Rising as well. So only Iron Fist out of all the Defenders, he's the only one with that Mystics tag. So you can definitely use him on your squad, and if you've powered him up, he's going to be a good addition, but Defenders alone won't get you through that. You will need someone else. Then, of course, there's events. As we mentioned, the Defenders don't help you prepare for any legendary characters, so you are going to need to farm separate squads, specialized squads to go after particular legendaries. The Defenders won't help you there. This lack of legendary application is one of the main reasons why you probably don't want to take your Defenders squad above 5 stars. There's just no point. They're not going to unlock anyone at 7 star, so why invest all of that energy in upgrading them? However, getting them to 5 star, getting them to gear level 10, getting them to abilities level 5, it will help you get into a place where you can farm other characters that you will want to upgrade to 7 star, because they are going to unlock some of those really powerful legendaries for you. So Defenders aren't directly helping you get the legendaries, but they're helping you on your way, and that's another reason why they're such a great team to farm at the beginning. So you've got your Defenders team. Now, how do you make the most of them? What are some tips and tricks that you can use to make all this effort that you've put in farming these 5 characters worthwhile? To begin with, don't skimp on the passive abilities. They're really great, but some of them do need to be leveled up pretty high before they give any real value. We've already looked at Locked and Loaded, and we've seen how much value that can bring to the squad, so my first tip is to power these passives up sooner rather than later. We've already seen how Lock and Load gives Punisher the ability to retaliate whenever Daredevil is damaged. Next, you want to go for Daredevil's Enhanced Senses, which gives all Defender allies increased speed and dodge. Your third priority wants to be Iron Fist's Son of Kunlun, which increases Defender and City Hero, so Punisher as well, increasing the benefit they get from Iron Fist's healing abilities. Now that's not to say that Jessica Jones and Luke Cage's passive abilities are not worth investing in. They are. Remember, ultimately you want to get all of your abilities up to level 5. It's just that my first tip is that those three, the passive abilities of Punisher, Daredevil, and Iron Fist, are the ones you want to prioritize in that order. My second tip is to focus on Daredevil's baton throw. Now this is an ability that a lot of people downplay the importance of. They prefer to focus on Daredevil's utility as a brawler and his chain attacks, but as we've already shown in this video, the ability to give all of your defender allies that counter-attack chance is really, really important and can honestly make the difference between winning and losing a battle. My third and final tip is a big one because it not only applies to defenders, but is a larger commentary on Marvel Strike Force in general, and that's the importance of positioning in your squad. Now we've already seen how many attacks in this game have an actual area of effect, a blast radius affecting not only the targeted character, but all of those around them. Now this becomes very important when you think about some of the buffs that we've mentioned in this game and some of the characters' innate abilities. Specifically, Luke Cage's taunt, Daredevil's ability to give everyone counterattack, and the Punisher's ability to retaliate whenever Daredevil takes damage. Let's think about what this means for our squad. Firstly, Luke Cage is going to be taunting. That means he's going to be calling to himself lots of these attacks, which may also do damage to the characters located around him. This means that by being careful with our character placement, our squad lineup, we can make sure that Daredevil is one of those characters being hit whenever Luke Cage taunts. Now when that happens, it's going to trigger a retaliatory attack from the Punisher, even though Luke Cage was the one actually being attacked. If you add to that the fact that you can hopefully also get your counterattack up on your entire defender squad, and you can basically have a situation where the enemy attacks Luke Cage, Daredevil is damaged in the process. Luke Cage counterattacks, Daredevil counterattacks, a third defender, let's say Iron Fist, also counterattacks, and then, because Daredevil was damaged, the Punisher also retaliates. One strike by the enemy and you got 4 out-of-turn attacks by your defender's squad. It's a pretty cool game mechanic, and the defender's squad can easily take advantage of it. All you have to do is position Daredevil so he's next to Luke Cage. Now ideally I would put the Punisher on the other end of the line so he's not getting damaged. He doesn't get quite as much healing ability from Iron Fist as the other defenders do. So this setup that I have on screen right now, this is what I use, and this I would say is the optimal lineup for the defenders. So going from left to right, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, the Punisher, and then Jessica Jones taking up the right-hand side. There you go. That's the Liam Aiden gameplay guide to farming, leveling up, and using the defenders, and even a couple of tips and tricks for how to get the most out of them. They really are a great team to get you into Marvel Strike Force with some fantastic synergy and great playability, really to that mid-game 5-star level. I hope this video has been helpful to you. As always, I'd appreciate any likes. Do subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all of the videos that we're dropping. I am going to be making another video, this time on the best villain squad to start with for Marvel Strike Force. Look out for that soon. As always, comments, criticisms, suggestions, welcome down below. I really hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you all for watching. Be good to each other, and I'll catch you next time for more Liam Aiden gameplay.